Theoretically, we all prefer a win-win situation when we negotiate. Practically, we want to walk away from a negotiation with the best possible price, the best possible salary, the best possible contract, and so on. In this video, we present 8 practical guidelines to follow when negotiating, especially against an opponent or partner who is a superior negotiator and who is not interested in a cooperative or win-win situation with you. An example would be a car dealer who most likely wants to win as much as possible from you. Note that in a situation where all parties are interested in a collaborative or win-win outcome, these guidelines will be an overkill because one could simply apply, say, the basic Harvard principles of negotiation. The need for more firepower arises if the other person or party prefers to win at your expense. For example, at a car dealership where you want to win just as much as the car dealer wants you to lose. In such a scenario, we need a better strategy to defend ourselves. The game theory has proven to be quite useful in such circumstances, especially when combined with elements from the good old but reliable psychology. Game theory defines a game as any interaction between multiple people in which each person's payoff is affected by the decisions made by others. This applies to any situation where people get together to do any business, like buying a car, or just in a game of poker. Game theory, which was pioneered in the 1950s by the mathematician John Nash, provides us with good, solid, mathematically well-founded advice. For example, when we go to a car dealer, game theory tells us to be aware of the following. First, we must be prepared for a non-cooperative or competitive game, and there will be a winner and a loser. Secondly, game theory warns us that we are going into a game against a more sophisticated player. Indeed, if we are sincere to ourselves, the car dealer deals with players like you and me on a daily basis and has more experience and therefore a bigger advantage. In such a scenario, game theory advises that the best we can possibly do is to try to minimize our maximum loss, because the chances that you will lose are very high. So prescribes a strategy to prepare for the worst case scenario from the opponent to guard against that worst case scenario. In other words, game theory tells us to try to lose small. But let's face it, we do not want to lose small. We want to win big, to tilt the scale in our favor, to stay in control of the negotiation, to not miss any opportunities. We will be exploiting 2 additional techniques within the broad science of psychology: the Pre-Suasive Technique and tactical empathy. The Pre-Suasive Technique will help us make our opponent agree with our message before we actually say it. With tactical empathy, we first pretend to empathize with the opponent's situation, then get them to empathize with our situation, thus compelling them to help us solve our problem without them knowing it. Our very first guideline is never to negotiate if your opponent is irrational. You cannot negotiate with a crazy opponent. Game theory also advises no negotiation if your opponent is not sophisticated and you are lots smarter than they are in that topic, because this will be pure exploitation. However, remember that this is what most car dealers will try to do to you. They will try to exploit the fact that they know more than you do about the complete process. After all, they do this every day. You do not. Guideline number 2. You must do your homework. Only if you know what you want and what the car is what that you want will you be in a better position to negotiate. Without preparations, you will likely buy the car you did not want to buy, and you will most likely regret this later. In this case, game theory recommends we have a game plan to play out possible scenarios in our heads. However, to do this, you will need to understand the type of deal that you should be receiving. Yes, the key to excellent negotiation is excellent preparation. However, never be so sure of what you want that you would not take something better. This is why the Harvard Principles of Negotiation recommends to prepare for a best alternative to a negotiated agreement, a BATNA, which in simple words is a plan B, an equivalent product you might accept in case plan A fails, or plan B ends up to be even better than plan A. Remember, you are also on the lookout for opportunities. Yes, you will need to know what you want and what you can settle for. Otherwise, you will get confused easily by the car dealer who will know immediately that you came unprepared. So be prepared. Guideline number 3 is taken directly from the Harvard Principles of Negotiation. It is to separate the opponent, in this case the car dealer, as a person from the negotiation itself. Never become unfriendly or use very bad or abusive words towards them personally. If you do, you will never get a good deal. Always try to remember this saying: when angry, you will make the best speech you will ever regret. Guideline number 4 is to try to always be in a positive state of mind before any negotiation. According to Chris Voss, a former chief FBI negotiator, in his popular book, Never Split the Difference, he mentions that our brains can become up to 31% smarter in a negotiation if we are in a good mood. And since good mood is very contagious, the opponent also is likely to get into a good mood, which increases the chances of working together towards a win-win. Guideline number 5 advises that we speak in simple language and in a deep voice, if possible, according to psychology. Complicated academic textbooks are meant to be references, created with precision and accuracy in mind, not to persuade people. If you want to be truly persuasive, you should focus on sounding as simple and clearly as possible. In negotiations, we do not get rewarded for sounding smart or intelligent. We get rewarded if we are effective. Clarity, speed, and efficiency is everything. Remember, your money is on the line. So you did your preparation. You are now sitting at the negotiation table and you are in a good mood. What next? There are 3 more guidelines to follow. Guideline number 6. Patience is power. Game theory rigidly confirms that patience is very important if you are trying to win in a negotiation. You want to find ways to make it look like you are more patient than the other person. That is, you have less to lose by letting the negotiation continue. So never wait for the last minute to buy a new car, or do anything for that matter where you need to negotiate. You must ensure that the opponent cannot take advantage of your impatience and force you into a take it or leave it deal. The car dealer will try to create a sense of urgency. For example, the offer is only available today or only one car left. However, you must take the time you need to think it through. Guideline number 7 is to try to listen more and talk less. Let the car dealer talk. People like to talk, so let them talk. This way you do not give away too quickly your level of preparation or urgency, or both. If you need time to think or to not immediately answer a direct question, feel free to buy time using a mirroring technique. A simple mirroring technique is repeating the last 1 to 3 words the car dealer just said, or a specially selected 1 to 3 words. This technique not only helps to connect your thoughts, but will irresistibly motivate the other party to want to explain and expand on what they just said. And you gain because you get a better understanding of what the car dealer wanted to say. You buy time for yourself to think, and amazingly, the car dealer will never see you as buying time or wasting his time. Some car dealers will try to provide alternative offers for other cars they have in stock which are selling badly. You should challenge using simple sentences which do not give any room for more discussion. For example, I do not drive trucks. This way you prevent the car dealer from redirecting you into buying a car you did not want or did your homework on, then cornering you into a take it or leave it situation. If, however, you happen to fall into a bad take it or leave it situation, game theory prescribes a counterintuitive move of doing something very random. For example, rolling a dice or flipping a coin without saying anything. What happens is that the opponent feels obliged to respond and will most likely be obliged to take back this take it or leave it situation from you, so you can all go back to the negotiating table. Guideline number 8 is never ever accept the first offer. The opponent, in this case the car dealer, expects you to negotiate, so the first offer is never the best offer. At the same time, always compare with the information you acquired while doing your homework. If the difference is too unrealistic, for example 50% higher than you thought, it means you are not prepared enough. Do not waste your time. Leave and come back again when you are better prepared. While refusing the first or second offers, you need to empathize with their situation. Then try to get them to empathize with your situation. In short, what you want to do is to get them to help you solve your problem instead of trying to exploit you. According to Chris Voss, in his book Never Split the Difference, a negotiation never really starts until you hear the words, "That's right." The best way to get the opponent to say the words, "That's right," is to listen to the emotions behind their words and try to understand the cares and concerns they have concerning the negotiation. Then summarize those cares and concerns with a statement that either starts like, "It seems like," or "It sounds like." For example, with a car dealer, one could say, "It seems like you are really concerned about reducing the price." This way you encourage the car dealer to irresistibly agree with you. The beauty is that it does not even matter if your assumptions are wrong, because you only said it sounded or seemed like that to you. In the rare event that the car dealer corrects you because it is wrong, just apologize and make the next sentence. After the agreement, you will need to follow up by getting the car dealer to empathize with your situation using the so-called calibrated questions that start with how or what. They are called calibrated because they direct your opponent's focus towards your problem. According to Chris Voss, the ultimate calibrated question is, how am I supposed to do that? Let us assume the car dealer tells you the monthly payment for the car is $500 a month. You could start with empathizing with the dealer by saying, "This is a really good car and you have likely offered me a very fair bargain." Then try to get them to empathize with you by saying, "But I only wanted a $300 a month car. How am I supposed to do this?" What you have really said is, "I understand and value the quality of the product, but can you help me solve my problem?" You have now converted a potential confrontation into a joint problem-solving session. This calibrated question leaves the car dealer with only two choices: offer you a creative, better solution so you both get what you value most, or lower the offer to accommodate you. For example, try to meet you halfway. And if the offer still does not match your needs, you can respond with another calibrated question. For example, "That is very generous of you, but I am sorry. I do not see how I am supposed to pay $400 a month for this car when I can get another car, say from another manufacturer or dealer, for much less." This technique of politely counteracting the offers by using differing versions of the calibrated question, "How am I supposed to do that?" will encourage the car dealer to work with you rather than against you. As a last resort, be prepared to walk away. There are going to be some deals that you cannot or should not accept. However, never leave on a negative note. Whatever you do, may it make you happy.